What's going on, guys? Welcome to Mixed Martial Arts. I believe we're on episode 5 now, right? Yeah, I think we're on episode 5. Today we have an awesome guest, amazing guest. I'm super excited for today's show. Today, so far, we got Ian and Bryce on. What's going on, guys? How you doing today?
Amazing. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well. Just preparing for this interview and then going on to my next training session right after. Bryce, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thank you guys for being out. Thank you for everyone attending. I can't wait to have a little sit down and chat and talk to Rose.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so let's bring Rose on. I'm sure everyone's excited. Hey, what's going on, Rose?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming on. The community is super excited. They've been talking about you. They've been really excited to have you on today. So we're all super excited for today's episode. So the first thing that I wanted to go over was just a little bit of background. Like I said before, we have a different mix of communities. We have MMA fans and we have crypto investors, and we have a lot of the guys that are just kind of crossing paths over. A lot of MMA fans kind of getting newer into crypto, and a lot of crypto investors just newer to MMA. So I did a little bit of research. I know you started off doing Taekwondo when you were really young. Just introduce yourself, how you kind of got into martial arts and then got into fighting.
So I got into martial arts. I started in Taekwondo when I was little. That was, just a good disciplinary activity to, keep me, I guess, away from just bad activities. So just the more I could keep busy, the better, everything was. And so, yeah, I stuck with that, and it's really, just led me down a path of different styles and different places. And it's eventually I discovered that that's something that I wanted to do for a living. And because I saw the opportunity there, and I turned professional in MMA, I believe I was like, I want to say I was 18 or 19. I can't remember. Or no, I was 20. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Wait, was it 21? I can't remember, but it was, I was a young adult. And then I eventually made my way to the UFC through the Ultimate Fighter. And then here I am, 2-time world champion, defended it, all those things. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Now, we know you have quite a story. One of my first questions that I personally had, because I met my girlfriend through training, and she's kind of explained some of her challenges just kind of being a woman in the sport. Early on, I'm sure more specifically, was it hard finding good training partners for yourself, trying to make it as a fighter?
Yeah.
And, like, finding other women and people your size?
Always. That's always been, it's weird because there are certain, like, pros and cons. Like, I think actually finding, sometimes fighting at strawweight it had its challenges because I normally am the taller fighter, and finding girls that are on my level that are smaller than me is very tough. And somebody that's not in the UFC that I'm fighting against. So they're just very unique body types. But if I'm fighting people that are, my size, like height wise and bigger, I have unlimited training partners all the time because I've never really had a problem with training with guys. If anything, I always kind of preferred it, there's like a little less drama and stuff, but guys are a little more rough too. So I think nowadays though the landscape has changed a lot. So there's a lot more girls that are part of the sport that understand it, that understand, like, we kind of have to mess each other up.
Hey, Rose, sorry to interrupt, but I think your microphone is just a little bit fuzzy. If you could just check that out. Guys, and while she's checking that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and smash that like button as we guys keep bringing you amazing champions and amazing fighters to interview. So you guys are not going to want to miss this out. Go ahead and check it now, Rose.
Okay, should I like turn my phone sideways, because then maybe it won't be like on the table?
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Okay, yeah. How's this?
It's still a little bit choppy. Let me see. Try it again.
Let me just.
Do you have any AirPods? If it's your phone?
No, Not right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
I could try to get my headphones, but like regular headphones.
Yeah, why don't you get off and come back on real quick and grab your headphones and we'll
I'll try
see
that.
you in
Or maybe I'll try my computer. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll probably on the
Thank you
computer.
so much, Rose. Yeah.
All right,
no worries.
Rose.
All right,
Yeah.
bye.
Yeah, so guys, as we were saying, hit that subscribe button, guys. We're trying to get this following up. We're bringing such amazing UFC fighters and bringing you guys some of the best MMA content there is out there at the moment, and also some great crypto content as well. Obviously, this is a crypto project, but it has turned into so much more. And and bringing on, in my opinion, Rose is the sweetheart of the UFC. I was there live when she knocked out Wei Li in the first event back to the normalcy where it was a sold-out arena in Jacksonville, Florida. She came in there, threw that head kick, and dropped her and finished the fight. And Joe Rogan was like, Rose, why did you keep saying, I'm the best, I'm the best? And she was, I am the best. That was like a moment and I'm definitely going to ask her about that. That moment stuck with me forever because she's just such a genuine person. And there she is.
Hey, is this better?
So much better, Rose.
100%. Yeah. A lot
Awesome.
better.
This song's been acting weird, so.
No worries.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
So go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead and finish up your questions.
Yeah. So basically, my point was, the difficulties of finding good training partners, especially as you're coming up. I'm sure you have better access to training partners now, but early on in your MMA career, I'm sure it was really hard to find good training partners.
Yeah. I think it's also being able to be a good training partner for other people too. So, that allows you to have more access. But I mean, yeah, there was definitely some times where, finding smaller girls that are not, that can handle the training has always been tough. But like I said, I would just kind of cure that problem by just training with guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, early on too, women's MMA wasn't nearly as big as it is now. No. I believe you're probably one of the. Obviously, there was Ronda Rousey that first introduced women's MMA into the UFC. But ever since then, the level of competition has continuously stepped up. And I believe you're one of the ones that have really pioneered that movement and that growth in women's MMA, in my personal opinion. So, I mean, now I'm sure you have good access to training partners, things like that. And speaking of your training, how does it feel, because you're with Coach Trevor Whitman, like training in kind of more of a focused environment versus training at more of like a bigger camp per se?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting that you asked that because I think there's, benefits to both training in a more private setting and then going into a big sort of gym atmosphere. I like doing both, and that's what I've done for the past few fights. I would split my time up between Minnesota at Greg Nelson's gym at the academy, and then here with Trevor. And then while we're here training with Trevor, I still, go over to Easton's for sparring. I still, jump into maybe some, different classes every now and then. I just like being around other fighters, you know what I mean? So that's what I like about the big gym atmosphere, because it's like, sometimes if you get, I really enjoy my kind of specialized focus training and training with myself, like, because you're the only one that's going to be fighting in there. Even your coaches aren't going to be there to save you, So it's, I like to have as much, I like to have a little bit of both, because on the one hand, it's like you can just focus on you. And then on the other hand, like I do like to mix it up and just be in that environment and remember what it's like to, kind of scratch and claw my way up and, just relate to some of the up and coming fighters that it's just good to see other fighters kind of going through the stuff and the things that I've had to go through and just kind of remember that,
Yeah, I agree. And, I just want to add something, Rose. I think you have such a unique situation with Trevor, how he has, like, I always think about, like, what's the perfect situation? And I honestly think, like, obviously most coaches couldn't just start like, hey, I'm just going to work with 3 guys, because they wouldn't be able to make enough money and they wouldn't be able to support themselves. But you have such a unique situation where Literally, you can be like, hey, Trevor, the best jiu-jitsu for me is at this gym. Trevor will follow you there. I get the best sparring at this gym. Trevor will come to that gym, and he will be there for when you spar to coach you. And so you can kind of look around at all the gyms, and you can be like, this is what I need for me here, and this is what I need for me here. And Trevor, being your head coach, will make the adjustments. He is for the fighter, which is you, and obviously Gaethje and Usman. And you guys get to basically choose the best training for you, and you get that personal level of training. And I think it's such a cool situation that you have because, obviously bigger gyms, you have more bodies, but you can go to those bigger gyms and you have Trevor there coaching you, because the problem with the big gym scene is, there's pros and cons with everything, but with the big gym, you just don't get that private attention. And as you know, Rose, when we get to the level that we are at, it is such little details that can win or lose you the fight. And having that private attention really shortens the error that you make. Like it shortens the what's the word? Capability of just being able to not make those little errors that can cost you a fight. So I think that is so cool, the situation you have.
Yeah, and really the situation is like ultimately, like Pat is he does everything for me. Like he's there day and night, 365 days a year, 24/7. I do train with Trevor a lot, and but ultimately, like Pat puts together the whole thing. I know that a lot of the world has a certain perception of like how it is that I train, but it's really Pat like steering the whole thing, and me just kind of I guess piloting as well.
Yeah, and that is what an advantage you have. I mean, Pat he's a legend of the sport. Like he's in glory in the UFC. Like he's basically done it all, short of winning a world title in the UFC, but he has, such experience and such knowledge of the game. And for that to be your husband, and you got a 24/7 coach with you, and I see you guys work together, man. He's always pushing you, making you work, and the camaraderie that you two have is really something special. And yes, of course, Trevor kind of, being your head coach and helping out with that. But more importantly, I think you are always with Pat because he's your husband, and he's such a good coach for you. And I think it's a really special thing that you guys have. That would be cool if my wife was a coach, but and to have that experience. But you have a very unique situation. It kind of reminds me, the only other situation I can think of is kind of Valentina, how her sister is married to her coach. So not only does she have her coach with her 24/7, she has a training partner as well, which is her sister. Yeah. So these situations are rare and amazing.
Yeah, it's really important to have not just people that are going to tell you how to win a fight or whatever, but also watching out for your health and safety and mental well-being, knowing everything that, not just how you show up into practice, because obviously martial arts is about bowing on the mat and putting outside distractions away and focusing on the job and the task at hand. But ultimately, like all of those, your whole life plays into it. So having people that understand your personal life and your dynamics and things like that is super crucial. And and then another thing, another huge advantage that people don't always consider is having coaches that have not only fought MMA, but have done it in the UFC at the highest level, and understanding how to navigate, the atmosphere of, such a huge machine and business and network. That's really going to be, I think, the new wave of, coaching. And I think where we're going to see, like, in the future, the best trainers have that, high level of experience, like with all of MMA, because, you see the the evolution.
Uh-oh. I was hoping that wasn't my internet. I think she froze up.
Oh. Am I back?
Your camera's froze. Oh, there you are. Yep.
There you go. Now you're back.
Yeah, keep
Yeah,
going.
no, but just having the trainers with the whole well-rounded experience, to be able to coach not just on a specific thing, but like all of it.
The whole package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so important to have those coaches with that experience, but also those are coaches that you could trust, like you were saying, personally. They know your day-to-day life. They know what's going on behind the scenes as well. So to have that level of trust with somebody with that much experience is something that's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
So speaking of your day-to-day, once in a while I'll see on your Instagram that you'll be farming and things like that. How do you incorporate that into like, are you consuming the foods that you're farming? How does that incorporate into your training and your regiment?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I consume as much as I can grow and things, and it's definitely a juggling act. It's always a balancing act. There's times where I started up, I'm into the, being self-sustaining and being a steward to the earth. Like, I just want to create things and I want to nurture, my environment around me and make it better. So that's my ultimate goal. And, gardening in a sustainable manner, whatever way, shape, or form that comes about, that's what I'm going to do. Even sustainable housing, that's something that I'm really into. So I'm always researching those things and studying and trying to explore different ways to provide for myself and my family, and not just that, but improve my environment for the rest of the community. But the way that it looks right now currently is I've been a part of the community garden, Rose Roots community garden, about a few miles away from my house. And, it's a perfect run. Sometimes I'll do just one way. Sometimes I'll do there and back. And it's like a 6-mile run. So it's just a good way to get my mind cleared. And then when I'm there, it's just like taking care of something. Sometimes it's hard to do while I'm, in a high stress training situation, getting ready for a fight. But sometimes it just really complements it well. And it sort of balances things out. So it's a really good exercise, and not just for your mind, but your body and your spirit. So, yeah, I just kind of, right now the season has just started. I planted some seeds, some stuff is growing, and we're going to see what we're going to get.
Now, do you notice a difference in the foods that you're consuming versus the foods that you're actually farming and consuming?
Oh, 100%.
Do you feel
that's been a constant my whole life. My mom, I grew up in the city, and my family we're Lithuanian immigrants. I was born here, but my mom, my brother, everybody else came here from Lithuania, and that's just how everybody, it's part of their cultures, being one with nature and having like as little chemicals in your food as possible. So we always had like a tomato garden, even in like the smallest little space, or a tomato plant, even in the smallest space in the middle of the city. And they were always just the best tasting. I love tomatoes, but sometimes from the store, it's just like super gross to me. Like, it's kind of ruined regular food for me. So
oh, wow.
If I can grow my own stuff, I'm going to do it, because it's 100% better.
100%. I 100% agree. Me and my wife have gotten huge into growing our own food. And I just want to show you something real quick.
Okay.
Just check out the screen. This is called can you guys see this?
No? Not currently, no.
Okay, hold on. Can you see it now?
No.
I tried to screen share it. Okay, there we go. This is called the lettuce grow. And you can just buy it. Have you seen this, Rose?
I have one.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
There you go. So no, that's so awesome, because people don't realize, like, they're literally, poisoning our foods. Like, it sounds crazy to say, but literally the pesticides and all the chemicals and all the fertilizers that are being put in your food. That's why so many Americans have stomach issues. And I've dealt with this my whole life. And now being able to grow my own food, like celery tastes so different. Broccoli tastes so different. So it's so important. So I think that's so cool that you do that. And it's like, what you sow, you reap. And it's like the MMA, like, you don't see it at first, but you keep putting that work in, keep watering, keep showing up. and you're gonna reap that harvest. So that's super
Yeah.
cool that you're doing that, Rose.
Yeah, no, the Lettuce Girl's awesome. I ended up getting one, and then I started it up, but then I had to shut it down. And I got to start back up again. So I'm excited because it's like super easy, like, you just kind of maintain the water and the nutrients and just kind of let it grow.
Yep. Let it grow.
Grow.
Absolutely.
No, I know we had Bryce Mitchell on one of our spaces the other time, and he was going on about him. He farms and he grows his own food and things like that. And
yeah,
I'm just surprised because I don't do any of that. I wish I could or should. I should start looking into that. But just what I hear, the difference between actually eating store-bought food versus growing your own food is night and day. So I'm excited to get into that myself at some point. But other than that, what does your day-to-day kind of look like as far as your training regimen goes?
Day to day, well, right now everything's kind of up in the air. Just kind of, figuring out what's going on. But I like to, if I'm in a training camp, it depends on if I'm here or if I'm in Minnesota. In Minnesota, it's like wake up, go to the gym, train, go, eat, then go to sleep, and then go back to the gym and train, then eat, and then sleep. And it's just like, that's my life for like a month or 2 months out of the training camp sometimes. But here it's a little more, I have to like piece things together like a puzzle piece. That's why I said, Pat's there with me 100%. Like he's orchestrating everything. He's really like, the head coach who puts like plans on my schedule together, because in Colorado, it's really just like over here, over there. There's like a ton of gyms that, you kind of need to like, it's like gumbo. You got to just, throw shit in there and mix it up. And it's just kind of like, I like to start my days with like a run and then, or like a lift or something to get the body awake. I'll sometimes during a training camp, I'll ice my legs, and then I'll kind of get my mind right and then get ready for either Trevor's practice or, Pat and I's practice with, and then I fly Chico Camus in and out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who is an old training partner of mine back from, when I was training at Duke Rufus's gym a long time ago. And he would do like every other week. And we just, we have my garage, I have matted out, and that's pretty much like the majority of my workouts happen in the garage, and we just kind of like grind it out. And it's really out here. It's not as much of a structured, thing. It's sort of like we do a lot based on feel.
Yeah.
And, it can be anywhere from, 3 to 4 hours a day, maybe. It just kind of depends on, what you consider to be like training or intense training. But anyway, so it's very ambiguous. But in Minnesota, it's pretty self-explanatory. I just show up to the gym, do whatever wrestling or grappling or striking practice they have, and then go home, eat, sleep, and train again. Rinse and repeat.
That's the life.
Yeah.
And how difficult was it to kind of structure that on your own earlier on in your career, like as you're an amateur and early pros before you were on The Ultimate Fighter, like coming up?
Yeah, coming up, I mean, I would just like kind of go to the gym and just show up, and then, kind of do what the coaches told me to do. As I got out to Colorado, I started to realize like a lot of fighters, I think out here kind of just have to do everything themselves. And we kind of everybody's just sort of figuring things out and going playing things by ear. I think a lot of my career has been that. There's just certain gyms that have like a solid, like the academy, nothing changes. Like it's the schedule is the schedule. And it's just like, you don't have to think about it. You just show up and train. Whereas there's a lot of other places where things just change a lot, and then it's, you got to change too. So, yeah, I think there's phases in my career where it was very simple, where it was very like, all right, this is what I'm doing and just train. And then there's other phases of my career where it's like, I have to figure so many things out. And, I think on The Ultimate Fighter, that was also a time where that was probably the least amount of thinking I had to do, because it literally, you just
Yeah.
you have no control over the situation. You're just going to the gym and back. So yeah, usually on like the main theme has always been train in the morning, eat, sleep, and then train at night, like 2 times a day for about 5 days a week. And
Okay.
here's a phase where I would take Thursdays off, whereas now it's like Saturday, Sunday. I love that now, so yeah.
You kind of
Yeah,
find
and-
your routine, your structure. Go ahead, Ian.
Oh yeah, and just kind of going back to the Ultimate Fighter, like Rose, it's just been so cool to see the transformation of your whole career. I wasn't even watching the Ultimate Fighter, and I just happened to be so tuned in to when you were on there. And I remember you saying like you had a few tough fights, and you're like, I just got to go have fun. And when you went out and you had fun, you performed so well. Your jiu-jitsu was absolutely insane. And then you started this progression, right? You decided, hey, hair's getting in the way of my training. You shaved your head. And then you had the unbeatable Joanna Jacek, and she was just looking like a complete monster. You went in there, you KO'd her. People said it was a fluke. You came back in there and you did it again. And you looked absolutely incredible. And you could just tell, yes, your skills were growing, but your mindset was growing incredibly. And it was just an inspiration for me. And then I'll never forget it, Rose. Probably one of the coolest things I've ever witnessed, and I'm sure it was probably one of the highlights of your career, the first sold-out arena event since COVID, Jacksonville, Florida. The crowd was absolutely insane, and you walked in there and you KO'd Whaley. And I remember it was like you are like the UFC sweetheart. So like you seriously, whatever the media and crap is going on, you've been here before. Like you got to keep your head high, because literally you'll go out there, have an amazing fight, and people won't even be talking about it. You know how the fans are. But Joe Rogan was like, Rose, why did you keep saying I'm the best? I'm the best. And you were just like, I am the best. And the whole crowd just went so crazy. And I was like,
bananas.
like explain that moment to me, because that was like, I don't know if you felt the difference, but there was, and I went to the Jacksonville fights a couple months ago or a month ago or whatever, but there was such an electrifying feeling. It was the first, like it was history, right?
Yeah.
Since COVID, 2 years, no people were in arenas, no events were happening. First event ever in the entire world since COVID, sold out. And Rose comes in there and KOs this monster Chinese chick who was like undefeated, I believe. But tell me about that moment, Rose, because that was like, that imprinted in my mind. And for you, I'm sure it was 10 times that.
Yeah, it was. I've been a part of some crazy fights and crazy cards. Even some of like the more regular fights that I've had, they've always been pretty big pay-per-views and lots of energy surrounding all of that. And almost like the most of my career, there's always been this like huge energy and buzz whenever I fight, whether that be from me or just like other fighters and stuff involved. But that energy, that buzz, like you were saying, 100% was by far the most craziest thing I've ever been a part of, ever experienced. Not just like because like I'm just stepping outside of myself and putting the belt on and all that stuff and all the hard work I put into it, but just like, man, it was the crowd noise was so loud that like usually I can hear stuff even no matter how loud it is, but like it felt like a bomb went off when people were just like screaming, because like that white noise where your ears don't hear anything because it's so loud. It's like like that type of thing. It was just like, and for it to just be like not like speakers but just people screaming that loud, it was by far the most coolest I think moments to experience.
Was that, would you say, was that like, I know you've had so many special moments, and I know you fought so hard to get that belt back, and your story is truly inspirational. Like I know me and Brandon could take so much away from that, and your mindset and everything. Would you say that was probably the climax of your career leading up to this moment?
I mean, it definitely was one of the higher points for sure. I think as far as like, I don't even know what that means because I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I think that for sure was a very high point. But before that point, I thought that when I beat Joanna, because that was also a super electrifying moment. But I don't think I was as experienced to totally take it in as much and like actually feel like my surroundings more. Like I was sort of like numb to the whole situation, but I was still taking it in as much as I could. But after beating Joanna, I thought like, okay, that was a super special moment. Maybe like if that ever happens again, I'd be surprised. Not to say that like I couldn't do that again. It just was so special and so like I felt like that wasn't me. Like that was, you know, the Holy Spirit or whatever. I don't know
Yes, it was.
it was, but it is me. I'm just a vessel. Like
Yep.
that's just the paintbrush is just being,
Yep.
brushed or whatever, I guess. And so for me, it was like, if that could ever happen again, like that would be amazing. And of course, anything's possible, but you think in your mind, like that is just so one of a kind, it's so unique. So, it's like stumbling across a unicorn twice, and then I did it. And then it was like, and not only did I win and knock her out, but like it was a special, unique experience like that. So that's why I say like I don't even really know what that means, because before I had a certain expectation of like, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity, but there's gonna be many once in a lifetimes. You know what I'm saying? Like even just in my life, outside of this career too.
Yeah, but I would definitely say that's, and I'm sure you could agree, that was one of the top moments ever.
Yeah.
And not only for you, but as a fan and someone watching, as just being a fighter watching from the outside. That was incredible.
And I guess to further explain that is, it's like my life is so amazing, even through like all the ups and downs, like even on the downest moments, like God just does miracles in my life all the time, to where it's like, I wish I could like show it to everybody, and have it be on display all the time, all the little miracles that just like fall into place, and cool things that happen. Definitely lots of like tragic things and lots of tough suffering for sure. But it just so happens that one of those miracle kind of moments just happens to be on display for everybody to see. But literally like little versions of that happen day to day all the time. It's just, you gotta be open to like seeing it and pay attention to it, and not take it for granted.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Sometimes we can learn more even from the harder times than actually the good times. So it's so important to not just glorify the good times, because a lot of good comes out of bad times. But I just had two more questions, and then I'll give it over to Brandon. So what would you say? Because I felt like you believed in yourself in Ultimate Fighter, but you didn't like. You're not like now where you're at mentally, and this might, this is for me, Brandon, all the fighters, and even people in life. How did you walk into that mindset of such confidence that now that you bring? Was it the training, the reps, obviously all that stuff to help, but what clicked where you're like, I belong here? And obviously you tell yourself that. Look at that fight. You were walking around, I'm the best, I'm the best. So you're having those self-talks with yourself, and you're telling yourself positive things that you're believing. And that's so important. But did anything like click, or was it just the reps, or is it just like an epiphany, something that happened to you? If you could put it in like a little like sentence or just a description, what would that be?
Definitely growing, just my walk with God and everything like that, I think has just taken me so many different places and so many epiphanies and revelations, from the little revelations to like the big ones. And I think ultimately back on the Ultimate Fighter, I had that confidence and I believed in myself, but I didn't truly understand all of the things that I have to like learn and go through in order to like I knew that I had this gift. I knew that something that I always believed in myself, that as long as I apply myself, I can do anything. And I know I have something special inside of me. So it's like I know I have this talent and this gift to put on display. But I think just the biggest difference in my confidence now as opposed to then was I just know how to do it. I just know how to earn that ability to actually be extra confident in my preparation and my, not just like, oh, I have this gift. Like I'm applying this gift every day and I'm maximizing my gift to the point of just making it like super, just doing everything that I can to basically training as if I don't have this gift. And like, what if I can't, move my arm or whatever? I don't know. Just, or, just trying to be the best martial artist I can be, whereas I think on Ultimate Fire definitely was super immature. And I just was ahead of myself, but I definitely believed in myself. I think I just needed more skills and more time. And like I was doing, and it's funny because when I watch myself sometimes, like back then, there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing, but not really even knowing that I'm doing like a good thing, like, cause it's just in me. Like for some reason I just can fight, naturally. Some stuff definitely is like, oh man, that looks terrible and cringy. But as far as like just the timing and the distance management and the range and stuff, like those are things that are kind of hard to teach people, that just, you either got it or you don't, but then I think just adding that the skills on top of those things is really, makes people more confident.
Absolutely. So yeah, from kind of what I heard is, you put your faith in God, and when your faith grows in God, then your faith can grow in yourself as well. And
yeah,
just growing that faith. Obviously, you got the reps in, and from what I heard you say is you're staying hungry. You're kind of acting like you don't have the skills. So you're training like you need to acquire them, not like, oh, I have it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really cool. And, I'm sure that helps me a lot. I'm sure Brandon took a lot from that as well, and the other fighters and people listening. And just one last question from me is, you have changed so much throughout your career, and it has been incredible. And you have to be, innovative in this sport. You have to constantly, so many things are changing. The sport has grown so much. The world is moving at such a fast pace. What do you think about crypto now? Like, as far as Marshall Inu coming in, being the first to bonus fighters out in crypto in Ethereum, and then also do a fan favorite picked by the community and paying out big bonus in Ethereum. And now we see crypto.com following suit and now doing a bonus in Bitcoin. And obviously, crypto coming together with MMA, crypto.com, the huge partnership, but Marshall Inu being the forefronts of getting fighters paid in crypto, which has been amazing. What's your thoughts on, obviously, crypto coming into the MMA world, but also crypto in just general, and how Marshall Inu has led the pack and kind of bridged the MMA community and the crypto community? What's your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I sort of dabbled in crypto like early on, and it was my brother kind of got me into it. And it's, I've just followed his advice most of the way, and it's worked out for me. I don't truly understand everything. Obviously, like everybody kind of, I think, is sort of, learning about it and whatnot.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's no doubt in my mind that that's the way of society in the future. Like it's already happening, but it's just, I've actually bought when early on in my learning about crypto, I had bought some crypto, and then like I made some money on it, so I was like, oh, we should like buy something. And because I'm like, what's the point of this crypto if like I can't actually buy anything? Like I want to know this is real. And then so we ended up buying these gift cards on gift.com with the Bitcoin, and then we bought some towels from Walmart. So I got bit towels.
Just to know it's real, right?
Yeah, just to, it was kind of a fun time. But anyway, so I kind of just been sort of like watching it grow and watching more and more people learn about it and different things and NFTs and, all kinds of, what is it, like penny stocks or whatever. I don't know, all these different things that can happen with it. And my thing is there's no doubt that it's going to be, how we exchange money, I think, in the future. And so that's like for sure the reason why I see the value in it. I'm just like not the most technologically advanced person, and it definitely like technology is a challenge for me. So it's something that I prefer to be in my garden. But if, there's also evergreen coin, which is like at the time, at least from what I remember, it's like, supposed to be like attached to sustainable living and all these things. So yeah, I'm very interested in it, but as long as it's provides freedom and I don't know, just as long as it is used in the proper way, I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's super cool to see what Marshall Inu has done. They personally have helped me. I got injured before a fight, and they still paid me to get through those hard times. Obviously, you know how much fight camps do cost. So when we don't get to fight, we don't get paid. And they have helped Brandon out. Literally, this is his full-time job. He gets to train. He's an up-and-coming fighter. Will be in the UFC someday. And they're just helping hundreds of MMA fighters. And it is just so cool to see that they are a brand, a household name that is here to stay. And you're going to see Marshall Inu lead the pack when the bull market does come around. And I think, it is so cool to see. Not only are we getting financially compensated, but we're also getting an education. I did not look right. I mean, have you learned more about crypto just since kind of Marshall Inu came on the scene and all these bonuses, this and that? Have you decided to kind of educate a little bit more?
For sure. Yeah. I think whenever I can find the time and like the brain power to, grasp these concepts, I do take full advantage of that. And because I think it's just a smart thing to do. It's where things are going. I think, I don't know if this is like, I don't know, but I think, I just think that's just where everything's going. And it's a great opportunity, like you said, for up and coming fighters,
Absolutely. Well, guys, if you're listening to this and you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. Brandon, we have a fan question that Brandon is going to bring to you. What do we got?
Well, actually, I'm going to let Bryce lead the community questions. So,
okay.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. If you have a question you haven't posted already, be sure to comment below. Put your comments, your questions. We'll bring that question up, and we'll have Bryce read it and go over it. And Rose is going to be happy to answer. Guys, be sure to subscribe while we load up those questions. First question, Bryce, go ahead.
Well, thank you. This one's from Chris G. He's actually one of our team members, but phenomenal, awesome dude. But Rose, Chris would like to ask, how hard was it financially starting out as a fighter when you first started your career?
For me, luckily, it wasn't as hard as, other fighters coming up. I had Pat that I was kind of riding on the coattails of his career and stuff, so I basically, had it very easy comparatively. But I mean, he also, in exchange for that, I was able to, help him out on the tail end of his career. So it sort of balanced out, and I watched him struggle a bunch. So, and I watched a bunch of other fighters struggle a lot too, still to this day. It's so, I know about it. And, but I mean, we always had what we needed, you know what I mean? We weren't living out of our car. We could have been close a couple times, but no, we ended up, with us put together, we were pretty stable, I would say. It just just paying off debt and those type of things, that really is that sucks because I never really spent my money a bunch. I always tried to be very conservative with my spending. But yeah, when you pay off debt, it's like, man, all this money just goes to nothing. You're like, dang. but you got to do it.
Shout out Pat Barry.
Yeah.
That's
sure.
awesome.
Well, that's incredible to hear. And it's not very often you get to hear of a story like yours, for sure. So one, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So appreciate you on that. We have another question from Diego. And so Diego asks, out of all the different fight styles, which is your favorite to train?
Ooh, that's kind of a hard question because I started off in Taekwondo, so I'm always gonna be you know, I'm always gonna love like kicking and punching. But I really have learned the value of jujitsu and grappling, and grappling is probably something that I'll probably do the most of. Um, I don't know if it's like, I don't know if I have a favorite, but I will say grappling in general, whether it be, wrestling against the wall or against, no gi or gi or whatever. I'm really actually really excited to get back into gi a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I would say I'll be a lifelong jujitsu, practitioner, and just because it's just like easier on the body, it's fun, and you can always roll, you can't always spar, so. But I'll be hitting the bag too.
Yeah, and that's so true. Like, it's when people ask me that, it's hard to say, because whatever you're weakest in, you have to fall in love with that. So like, I started as a wrestler, but then I fell in love with striking, and then it's like, but then I fell in love with jujitsu, and then I had to, like, my wrestling went down, then I fell back in love with wrestling. So it's like, it's kind of like
that's the beauty of MMAs, because like for me, I get bored with stuff, and that's why I think I've made it this far, because there's always something to do. Like if you're just sick of one thing, you just do the other thing. There's always something to train.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I will have to slightly disagree, though. I feel like I get more bumps and bruises doing jiu-jitsu than I do striking for some odd reason. Yeah, I always catch an elbow, someone's shrimping out, someone's spazzing out, and I get caught with an elbow in the eye or something.
No, yeah, you're right. You're not safe. You're not safe anywhere. But
yeah, safe.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, let's see if we have another question loaded up here.
You need to get better training partners, bro. You sounds like you train with some spazzes.
Yeah, right.
What? Once in a while, yeah. They gotta keep me. They gotta keep me sharp.
Right.
Okay. Well, we got one. I got another question for you, Rose. And this is from Deep Rinse. He asks, "Are you good at any other sports aside from MMA?"
So, I'm definitely a great runner. I run a lot, and I did track and cross country. My mile was like 5:30, and my 2.5. I forgot exactly what the time was, but I just ran like a 3 mile in like 19 something or 19 minutes, I believe. I don't remember, but so I'm a great runner. I play basketball. I wouldn't say like, I'm the best basketball player, but I definitely enjoy basketball. And if I didn't roll my ankle so much, I'd do it more. So other than that, I'm trying to think if there's any other, sports that stick out to me, but that's probably the two main ones.
Well, that's incredible. You can definitely see it. It definitely helps with your cardio. From round 1 to round 5, you look like the same fighter. And I must commend you on that, because it's not easy. I know I've been doing Muay Thai, and my cardio is definitely not on par like yours, Brandon, or Ian's, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But I must also thank you. Like, you've definitely become a role model for a lot of young women in the sport, right? I know the gym I train at. They have a beginner's jiu-jitsu class for like girls age 7 to 11, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And you could see one of them actually had thug like sketched into the side of her hair.
Oh wow!
Like, I believe she had shaven it, and she put thug in it. And it was just incredible to see it, because like there's a lot of young women who are getting into the sport because of you.
Yeah, no, it's pretty amazing. I can't wait to see the next generation, and that's something that I'll be very interested in, kind of helping coach kids and stuff, as my career progresses and stuff, because that's definitely some beats coming up. They're gonna be, now that kids are just doing MMA, they're not starting in one thing. Like, I mean, there are focuses that they do, but there's gonna be a wave of kids that are just doing MMA and that's it,
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Do you feel, though, starting off in traditional martial arts has helped you, or at least get a different look on fighting? Because I came from a karate background, and I feel like that's given me like a certain type of look.
Yeah, I think that all the traditional martial arts, I agree with you on that, because it does give me a different like my bounce. It's just it it makes my footwork like unique. So when I do like, you know, the boxing footwork that Trevor gives me, or like some stuff that Pat and stuff incorporates, I add my traditional kind of background into it and sort of make it my own. So I really do believe that. I just think that it would be cool if, you know, and maybe it's already been being done by like Stephen Thompson or other, you know, karate guys or taekwondo guys that are, you know, professional fighters. But if there could be a way to, you know, sort of revamp some of those traditional martial arts into like applying it to MMA and updating it, or not updating it, but maybe re-establishing the traditional roots, because, you know, obviously things get watered down and stuff. But, you know, there's a bunch of, I went back to my taekwondo school where I started at, and they were telling me all the different like kind of things they used to do back in the day, and applying it to like real self-defense scenarios. Back in those times, it was just different. Whereas like things just sort of get watered down, you know what I mean? Like, so I think either reestablishing those roots and like rediscovering like the real history of it, and or like just, I don't know, I guess revamping it to apply to MMA is, I think, would be even better, you know. But yeah, it has to be a lot.
Yeah, 100%, especially for kids, because the whole, you know, discipline, self-respect, more of the lessons learned from traditional martial arts, I definitely feel are important to apply when it comes to kids. But then revamping it, as you said, to kind of apply it to a little bit more of a realistic scenario, or for mixed martial arts. Yeah, no, that's great. I think we do have one more question, and then after this, I think we're safe to close out. Bryce, I don't know if you want to take this question from Rick, I believe. There you go.
Well, Rick asks, what is your biggest inspiration to keep moving forward in the face of adversity? And where do you draw on from in the tougher moments in your fights or otherwise?
Yeah, that is a really good question, because it really depends on, you know, the challenge that I have in front of me, and you know, where my head is at the time. And as long as I know like what my purpose is and what I should be doing, my source of strength and power is just infinite. You know, as long as I have that strong communication and that that strong intuition, I can do anything, and it doesn't matter, you know, what is standing in my way. A lot of the times, you know, you're drawing from your preparation and your training and all the things, and your experience too, your past experiences. But all that preparation is done the proper way, because day in and day out, you know why it is that you're doing what you're doing. So ultimately, just having that strong sense of purpose and that drive is everything. You know, you can have all the skills in the world, but if you don't want to do it, you know, it's not going to be worth it to, you know, like, one of the most biggest moments I had to overcome was when I faced, rematched Andrade, and I was facing a lot of demons in that fight, because she had sort of, you know, done something to me that I've never experienced before. So I was like kind of facing all those things, and there's a bunch of other stuff. But ultimately, like, I had made that choice in my mind of like, I am not backing up. Like, I'm not letting you bully me against the cage. Like, that's just not happening. And I just made that choice, you know. And when you really choose to commit to something, then it can work miracles and wonders in your life. You just have to have a good reason for committing to something. If you're just like committing to, I'm going to punch a hole through this wall. Well, why are you doing that? You know, it's not going to seem worth it if you're just, you know, doing it for no reason. So you got to know your purpose.
Yeah. You got to find your why.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like that's helped you? Because I mean, even after that fight, at one point, I believe you said you were considering retirement. So you kind of made a whole completely different switch to now having, in my opinion, one of the best mindsets you could have in MMA. Do you think, you know, what you just said kind of applies, and what made that transition from you going from considering retirement to where you're at now.
Yeah, 100%. You know, there's different, you got to know what makes you tick and what motivates you. Some people, they're really motivated by money. Like that's just a huge motivating factor. And it doesn't have to be, as long as it's not like the love of money, like it's like, I'm going to use this to do something in particular. Like as long as it's not the love of like peacocking and being proud and this and that, like I think it can be a good thing. So money being a motivating factor is a motivation. To me, it's a motivation for me, but it's not the ultimate motivation. Like, so it just kind of depends. So sometimes it can be like, I don't know, you just like, sometimes it's like this personal accomplishment or achievement. Like I really wanted to prove to myself that I'm going to stand my ground at this moment. You know what I mean? So that's when I was like, really just decided, that's what motivated me. Like, I'm choosing not to, you know, I'm picking this battle. In the last fight with Carla, my motivating factor was like, I'm not gonna, you know, let anything that's happening around me come out of my game plan. Like I'm sticking to the game plan. This is the goal that I'm achieving. And I want to prove that to myself that I can stick to the game plan regardless of what's going on. And so, so you just have to like know what makes you tick. If like, I need to get this much amount of money, or I need to, I don't know, whatever it is that makes you tick, you got to find that.
After training, I'll be fit.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, so what was the other thing I was gonna say? Shoot, I don't know. Yeah, anyway, but yeah, you gotta find out.
On that note, I think we're good. I mean that was a piece right there. That last 5 or 10 minutes, however long that was, of just motivational. I think a lot of people need to hear that, and I'm glad you shared that with us. I'm amped up and I'm ready for training now. Absolutely. So, yes. But thank you so much, Rose, for being on. It was such a pleasure to have you on today. Bryce and Ian, thank you guys so much. All the people that in the chat, commenting below, watching, be sure to subscribe, like the channel. This is the 6th episode. We have freaking Rose Namajunas on here. So, we're putting out some awesome content out on here. And again, thank you guys so much for being on.
Yeah, Rose, it's just been an incredible masterpiece to watch your career. We've laughed, we've cried, just watching you overcome so many obstacles. And we appreciate you for bringing us as fighters and other fans that are watching and other fighters as well, such a insight into your mindset. And, you need to keep your head high. We know you're going to hold that belt again soon. And as you said, we're starting to, you start to learn to enjoy the moments, even the bad ones, as you get older, because there's so much to learn from that. And you're in such a good place mentally. And I'm super excited for the future of your career. I'm excited for the future of Marshall Inu and how they're going to continue to help so many fighters out there. And like you said, crypto is the future. It even says in the Bible there'll be a one world currency, and I believe that is cryptocurrency. So, Rose, Bryce, Brandon, thank you guys so much. And guys, the future and the undisputed champ, Rose Namajunas, she is a champion inside and outside the cage, and she is the UFC sweetheart. So follow her career and hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and tell your friends more about this podcast. We're going to bring on more amazing fighters. And once again, Rose, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. And awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Peace out, guys.
All right. We'll see you soon.